The truth should never be a weapon, but a mirror offered in love. Today we'll be talking about the psychology of comfort and connection, knowing what to say to a friend who is in distress, knowing what to do to a friend who is in distress. Because of that, we will need to understand the four stages of distress. That is shock, emotional overwhelm, readiness to for healing, and problem solving. Now, understanding these four stages of depression will help us to know what we ought to do and how we are to come in, and the best way to react to a friend or to a loved one or to a spouse or to somebody closest in our life who is in distress. Because for me, the best thing you can do to your partner or to your friend is to understand the way they feel, especially when they are in deep distress. Understand the stage they are in and to know what to say and to know what exactly to do so that you will not be doing off point. That will help them heal and help them come out better and stronger. Yes, so I started by saying that the truth should not be a weapon. Sometimes we believe that people might be the cause or the reason for their distress. They might be the cause or the sole people who made themselves be the way they are at that moment. But is it the right time to say it? Is it the right thing to say it? This question is coming from an observation I made from the book of Job, Job chapter 4, because we're in the Ayyub series, Ayyub 4, where we saw the friend of Job react, responded in reaction to all the things that Job was saying in the whole of chapter 3, because he was in a grievous state, because he was in a depressive state. So again, we ask, should he have reacted that way? Should he have responded the way he did? Because after he was done, Job said again, do you think I don't know what I'm saying? Is it that I don't know the difference between right and wrong? You have not been a good friend, but instead you've attacked me. You've not been a friend in need. You've not addressed the situation in love, but you've tried to prove your point. You want to prove to be right. And that is what brings us to, you know, reacting to someone who is in distress. It's not the time to show that you would have done it better, to show your pride that if you were in that condition you would have been better, to say come on, come off it, why are you in this way, or to say something like it's your fault. No, completely, that is not. Because when someone is in distress, for example, let's say for example when someone is in shock, which is the first stage, that's not the time to begin to reason with them logically. That's the time where they need your gentle presence. They need your gentle presence. They need your soft touch. They need to know that you are there. Then, when they are emotionally overwhelmed, they need your validation. They need your validation. They want to be seen, right? They want to know that they are seen. They want to know that they are understood. So, understanding these things will help you to know what you ought to do and to know what you have to help them, because it's not about you, it's about them. It's about them, overcoming their depression. It's about them winning. It's about them coming out better. And they can do this because of you, because of those people who are with them, right? They can only achieve this because of the good friendship, because of the good relationship they have around them. If they have friends and people who understands them, who understand these things and know what to do in every stage of distress or in every stage of depression, in every stage of grief they are, and as a result, help them, make them feel better, they will not give in to those suicidal thoughts. They will not probably go as far as taking their life, because they have enough encouragement that will see them through out of that distress. Now, we talked about shock. Psychologically speaking, shock is the immediate reaction to a traumatic or distressing event. The brain enters a protective mode, often resulting in numbness or disbelief. This is basically when someone is complete disbelief. They can't believe what just happened. They can't believe what is going on. Now, what do they need at that time? They need safety, they need stability, and they need a gentle presence. That's all they need. It's not the time to begin to talk or begin to give advice or begin to, say things that you want to say. They just need a gentle presence, someone that is there with them, even though they may not think that's what they need, but that is the best thing you can do for somebody in such a situation. Then we'll talk about emotional overwhelm. Emotion begin to surface intensively. Grief, anger, fear, or guilt may dominate. Emotional needs at that time is validation, contentment, empathy. Presence is more powerful than solution here. What they need at that point is validation. Validation is where somebody feels seen, where they know they're understood. Now, shock is just like, it's something instant, like you can't believe it. So what such person need in terms of shock is just presence, a gentle presence. Now, when he has graduated from shock to emotional overwhelm, when he's beginning to like believe it or slowly accept what the things that is going on around him or her, then the person needs validation. Is emotionally overwhelmed. He needs to know that somebody is there. He needs to know that they are seen and they are understood. Emphasis on that they are seen and they are understood. It's not the time to begin to say that it's their fault. No. It's better you just shut your mouth and just don't say anything. That is the worst thing you can do to someone that is in such a situation. They need to know that they are being seen. Even though you believe completely it's their fault, which of course you might not be completely sure. But even though you completely believe it's their fault, that is not the time to say. That is not the time to say, you should have done it better. Don't you think this is your fault? No, that is the time to be there emotionally. That's the time to make them feel seen, than to know that they are understood. Then, readiness to get better, the person begins to seek relief and shows openness to healing or support. Emotionally is encouragement, hope, and gentle guidance. Emphasis on gentle. Not being rough on them. Then problem solving. The individual engage in constructive thinking and begins to rebuild or adapt. Emotional needs are collaboration, empowerment, and affirmation. Now, these are the 4 stages of distress, and these are the things that you need to do in each stage. Your approach to each stage. When a friend is in their lowest, that is not the time to just. The need completely is your presence. I remember this story of a pastor. It's a very painful story, and I read it from a book, Holding On To Your Faith Even When God Doesn't Make Sense. The pastor got a very terrible news that they have to amputate his daughter's leg. She was sick, and because of that illness, it resulted, probably cancer, resulted in amputating that leg. And because he was a pastor of a big denomination, so many branches, maybe all over the country, he announced a prayer that they were going to pray by faith that God is going to heal his daughter and there will be no need to amputate that leg. Because of that was his belief, he told his daughter, say, your leg will not be amputated, they won't cut off your leg. Now, a week to the procedure, he said the same thing. Few days to he said the same thing. Few minutes to when she will go to that her leg can be cut off, he told her the same thing. Looked at her and said, your leg will not be amputated, don't worry. He went there, 30 minutes gone, 1 hour gone, and finally the door was open and his daughter came out with one leg. God, he was very much devastated. He didn't know what to do. He ran out, went to the basement of the hospital, probably sitting there in the dust, and so his friends, 2 of his friends came, and just like Joe, who was in complete distress, who was shattered, who was in shock, who was emotionally overwhelmed, he began to say a lot of things, a lot of what people might term extreme. But when people are in that emotional state, it's not that they are cursing God, it's not that they are saying bad things about God, but they are expressing is an outflow of their grief. Allow them to say it. And he said the best things his friend did was that they were there with him throughout for hours, listening to him. They didn't tell him to shut up, they didn't say he was wrong, they didn't tell him probably it was his fault, they didn't try to advise him, they didn't say things that to prove a point, to show that they are right and he's wrong. They were just there. Now, this is the best thing to do. Unlike some people, probably some Christians that will come up and begin to, at that time, begin to say, scripture says, no, that is not the right time to say that. For example, that same man, he said that he went to a restaurant and he saw a member of his church, and the person was like trying to comfort him in the best way he can. The person was like saying, it could have been the will of God that this didn't happen to your daughter, because when everyone was being asked to pray, there was a sense of revival in the church. That was an opportunity that helped people pray, that helped people, seek the face of God, and the church has not prayed like that in a while. Now the question is, the man asked him, or maybe he didn't say it out loud, but the question is, do God need to take another limb to cause another revival in his church? So you see that was a very, very terrible thing to say. It's a very terrible thing to say. When people are in that sensitive situation, you don't just say things that you feel to be right. You walk in wisdom, and that is where you come in and ask God to give you the wisdom to say the right thing, to decide what the person needs at that time, and to respond in kind. To respond in kind, because what you do will affect the person's mood, will affect the person's state of mind, may either make or mar the person, may either build or shatter the person. So you must be careful the things you say. So that's why you have to understand these 4 stages of distress and know how to react and know what to do in times like this. So yeah, thank you. We've come to the end of this, and thank you for watching and listening. It was wonderful, and I was glad I did this. So shukriya, bahut shukriya, धन्यवाद. मेरा नाम अंतोनी है, आप सुनने का खुशी हुई. शुक्रिया, नमस्ते.